Good morning. Today's devotion comes from the chapter of James, the third chapter of James, verse 16. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. Now, this part of James' letter is about wisdom, actually, and where it comes from. James is bringing to our attention that real wisdoms come from God. Following earlier verses about the tongue as a small but devastating weapon, the issue here of wisdom is about knowing when to curb your tongue, manage your words. We are well aware that words can build you up, but they are also extremely good at tearing you down. James talks about how such a small thing as a tongue can wield such power. Well, the issue is not so much the tongue as what powers that tongue. And the underlying power is what today's verse addresses. James is bringing to our attention that while our heart may carry our soul and house our connection to God Himself, it is also the seat of emotions, good and bad. It is this turmoil of emotion that powers our ability to either build up or tear down. So since the verse is about the adverse aspects of our words, we will explore these negative issues. As temporal beings, created to be in a relationship with God, but given the free will to either be tethered to or completely disconnected from our God, we are constantly aware that we want something. The problem is that God wants us to seek out our connection with Him as part of that free will decision process. That means we are aware of the desire to be connected, but we aren't really aware of what it is that we want to be connected to. We just know we want. A constant state of want makes us always on the lookout for something. When we are aware of this nagging need, we become agitated. We get a heightened state of want and become unsatisfied. That gives us over to the emotional side of our personalities. And therein lies the seeds of jealousy. We begin to want what others have because surely they are more satisfied than we. If we just had what they have, we would be satisfied. Note I said, had what they had, not the same things that they had. You see, part of our psyche is that feeling this way can't be our fault. If we could fix that insatiable desire for something that is available, obviously we would do so. Therefore, what we really need isn't available because someone else has it. In that moment, the emotion of jealousy arises. The irrational agitation at someone that has what we want. It becomes, they have it and we don't. Not an issue of what we really need. The other side of this jealousy coin, according to James, is the issue of selfish ambition. A desire to have or achieve for ourselves with no regard for the impact on others. We all know someone who will walk all over us to get what we want. Now, the whole idea of love is to be in a giving relationship. So the very concept of selfishness is the antithesis of what God had planned for us. Ambition is simply the desire to have what we want. We often look at ambition as the desire to get ahead, and it is. Ambition is the desire to achieve whatever we have set as a goal. It might be a career, a luxury car, a mansion, or even a trophy partner. When we look at selfish ambition, we see that the individual not only has a goal that is inward looking, for their own benefit only, but that they care little or nothing about how their desires and the efforts they take affect others. This is selfish ambition. It is blind devotion to self and disregard for relationship. James wants wants us to understand the outcome of these activities. I think he's being a bit generous when he says there will be disorder. Think about everyone in the world wanting what they want and not caring about anyone else. I think anarchy or chaos is a better description of what would occur. To a degree, we see this every day. Since every one of us have free will and none of us are totally capable of restraining ourselves, there are small eruptions of selfish ambition around us every day. The major problems come when those community or regional powers begin to act indiscriminately on selfish ambition. You know what I'm talking about. The Crusades, Napoleon, Genghis Khan, World War II. These are the most disruptive of the selfish ambitions. You and I may simply be brushing a coworker aside for a position, or tripping up an opposing player in a game to get our selfish ambitions. And that certainly doesn't seem to be as bad as a murderous dictator, now does it? I have said I believe God does not prioritize sin. That means no one sin is bigger or worse than another to God. So we are as bad in God's eyes as any world dominator when we sin. And while our acts do not decimate whole countries, we can ruin single lives in our selfish pursuits. The answer to all this chaos and selfishness is simple. If we ascribe to love, we will be much less capable of harming others because love gives. It does not take. Jealousy and selfish ambition take by definition. They are the opposite of what we are made to be. And, ironically, the drive built into each of us to search out God for relationship is what is perverted into this jealousy and self-ambition. We are searching for the one thing that satisfies. And because we do not recognize the real need, we cannot find it. Let us pray. Father, help us to focus on what we really need. What we need is you in our lives. As we fight community-wise and globally over issues that have been brought to us with this new virus, and we seem to be interested in just ourselves and our own survival, help us to realize that's not what we were made.